Hey guys, and welcome to the JaYoe Nation. This is going to be a bit of a walk and talk, a JaYoe conversation in the JaYoe Nation. I am in Ningbo, a city south of Shanghai by a couple of hours. If you've seen my videos, you know I do a lot of my stuff from here. We are leaving Starbucks and we're walking around the CBD, which is a really fantastic area with some really beautiful buildings and things like this. As a matter of fact, there's an iconic structure here, this red tower. Way up at the top of this red tower, way up there, I was flying a drone and I wanted to make the drone go from this side all the way across and just skim the top of that thing. And I miscalculated and I ran my drone into the top of that tower and I hit it so hard that the camera of the drone popped off. It's still up there to this day. Kind of funny. Anyway, we're going to walk around and we're going to talk about something because I'm going to answer a question that was posted or asked of another set of YouTubers. In particular, two YouTubers who used to be in China. They used to be the talk of the town in China. Know everything about it. Well, they would say. But they are not in China anymore. They're in America, and they have a podcast, and I listen to it every so often just to kind of hear what they think. And somebody called into their podcast or issued them a question, and they said, how is COVID doing in China? Is China covering up COVID numbers, and how are things going there? It's a good question. It's a valid question. And I don't think they answered it very well, to be honest. One of the YouTubers answered the question and said, there's really no way to know what's going on in China. They don't release information. And so, seeing as though they don't release any information, I think what happens, this was their supposition, I think what happens is somebody with COVID will go into a hospital, and because China has toyed the idea that COVID is eliminated in China, no doctor in his right mind living in China wants to not toe the party line. So they will hide a person with a case of COVID who comes into the hospital and quarantine them or let them die or whatever the case may be, and you will never hear about it. And that's probably what's happening there. There's no way to prove it, but that's what's probably happening. Well, first of all, you can't prove a negative, right? So China could be growing dinosaurs in Yunnan province, but nobody knows about it, so it must be true. You can't disprove it, so it must be true. Hospitals all over China are having COVID victims, and they're just letting them die in the basement. Prove me wrong. There's a version of Chinese people who are 7 feet tall and eat nothing but babies. Prove me wrong. It's a bit of a tough argument. But in this case, you can actually do a lot to prove it wrong. First off, I am in China right now, so I think you could take my opinion maybe more than somebody that isn't in China. Granted, they've been in China for a long time, but China has changed a lot in 3 years. I mean, a lot. And I'm here. Am I wearing my mask? No. Am I breaking a law by not wearing my mask? No. Why do I not wear my mask? Because we have a system here in China developed that reports cases as they pop up. All right, I'm going to take a quick side thing here. This up here, this is called Gui Hua. Holy moly, this is so good. Oh, it smells so sweet. You can dry it, you put it with sugar and honey, and it gives that like a really interesting flavor. But in China, what they really like to do is they put it into a soup called tongyuan. Tongyuan is like balls of glutinous rice and a little bit of sugar and then they put these flowers in there with it. And oh my God, that xiao tongyuan is to die for. Have you guys ever had xiao tongyuan? Have you had tongyuan? You could have like tongyuan with the glutinous rice balls that actually have sesame inside, and those are big balls actually, big balls. But the smaller tongyuan balls mixed with these flowers, holy moly, so good. Anyways, hi.
Hello.
Cooking?
Yes.
你做饭?
Yeah.
Go. So anyways, everybody's nice here. She's wearing her mask because she's in the kitchen. That doesn't mean that you have to wear masks, but people wear masks out of courtesy if they're working in some sort of a job that they're working with the public or doing anything. Mask culture in China is actually quite common, mask culture in Asia in general. So I will actually extrapolate on that people wore their masks even before the COVID time. But COVID definitely made mask wearing a bit more ubiquitous. Anyways, oh wow, they emptied the fountain area. Well, that'll be interesting to show you this. Normally this whole area is full of water, and there's a fountain show every night at about 7:30. My daughter Eva loves a fountain show. But we'll walk past it and you'll be able to see it. The view behind me actually is gonna open up and you'll be able to see a really, really beautiful view right behind me, and you'll see that red tower there that we started the conversation at. I'll actually walk inside the pit here where normally there would be water. So here's a little bit of water left, but most of it is gone. Anyways, so you can't prove that China is locking away COVID victims to suffer and die or to quarantine or whatever. Whoop. Now I'm in the water literally right now. Normally we would be in water, but this whole area is now dry. Anyways, case in point, there was a case that popped up in Qingdao. 12 cases, locally contracted, so it's a big worry. They don't really know exactly where it came from. So what does Qingdao do? Well, they certainly don't sweep those 12 people under a carpet into a back room and let them die miserably. What they do is they test 9 million of the Qingdao residents. As of yesterday, I got a report that they had finished testing 5 million people. So 5 million people have been tested already in an effort to isolate the people who might have COVID. So 12 cases, 12 mind you. This country is going, well, I don't want to say they're going above and beyond. They're doing what has to be done. And other countries who might be suffering this are suffering it sort of needlessly out of their own mismanagement. You might say, wow, testing 9 million people because of 12 cases, that's a bit extreme. Well, it has to be extreme if you want to contain a pandemic, you know? The small price, well, it's not a small price. Testing 9 million people is not an easy feat, is not something that you do lightly. But if you test 9 million people, then the country can benefit from having a robust system that allows you to walk around a park without a mask. If there was 12 people in this building that got COVID, I would instantly get a message on my phone. They wouldn't go into a hospital and get locked away. They would, you know, it's kind of crazy. Another point that YouTuber made is that there's a national pride in China to contain the virus. So if a person with COVID went into a hospital, oh, nobody would want to be the first doctor to say there's COVID back in our city. I postulate the opposite. People in China are so proud of the systems and the efforts and the fact that everybody can be free and not wear masks and go to school face to face and go to their jobs and go to the water park and go to a library and go and work in a factory and do all of those normal things that people in the Western world right now, or a few countries in the Western world, cannot. Like, it's funny, you used to take for granted living a normal life. Well, in China you do live a normal life. We simply just can't fraternize with other countries because other countries are not doing it as well as it is in China. So it's kind of a frustrating situation if you like to travel like I do. But small price to pay in order to kick this virus's ass. But back to my postulation. You know, you say that because of the national pride of having this virus licked, no doctor would want to announce. I say the opposite. If somebody walked into a hospital with COVID, the national pride would be to tell everybody about it. The national pride would be, we got a case, let's get it down, let's contact trace everybody that's ever been in contact with this guy. I mean, listen, I mean, let's contact trace anybody that's been in contact. 12 people in Qingdao, a city of 9 million, came into the hospital with COVID, and they're testing the entire city. So right there, that invalidates the argument that China's trying to keep a lid on this thing. The only way that you can manage a situation like this in a good, organized manner is to be honest with the populace and to robustly test and to have a populace that trusts the government enough to wear their masks and understand that when they need to buckle down, they need to. Listen, I would not be walking out here without a mask, feeling so comfortable if there was 12 cases in Ningbo. Ningbo is a city of about 9 million people. If there was a case, the whole situation here would change. So, does China have the COVID situation under control? Hell yeah. Could it change tomorrow? Hell yeah. But the situation is such in China that all you need to do is flip the switches that are already in place. All the switches are in place. The systems are in place, and the populace around is informed and ready to go in case it comes back. And so, you know, everybody's ready to go and everybody's on board. I also think that there's this is a future vlog, but I think that there's a big difference between China and or even Asia. There's a big difference between Asia, the East and the West, in the fact that people in the West are buying into conspiracy theories so easily. I mean, it's okay to like think about conspiracy theories, and I guess, you know, even people in China buy into some conspiracy theories, but they don't let it invalidate common sense. When most doctors and epidemiologists say this is a pandemic, we need to get serious, all the countries that took it serious and listened to the doctors fared better. And it seemed like in the West, there was mass conspiracies, there was the fact that the virus is a hoax, you know, propagated in a large percentage by the people at the top. You know, what does that do for the confidence and reliability of your message? It's really tough. I had a bunch of people in my comment section that argue vehemently that not enough people are dying to make it a big deal, which to me sounds heartless. Or, you know, Fauci said we didn't need to wear a mask, so I'm not going to wear a mask. Well, Fauci also reneged on that and said, you probably wear a mask. Masks are the most important, CDC. So you strategically pick the no mask, and you believe the no mask recommendation. But if they change that and adapt, you don't believe that. So you either believe, it's like selective belief. Chinese, you got to give it to them. When they're told to do something, they do it. And they have been able to contain this virus to an extent that It is admirable. They worked their asses off for 2 months, more than 2 months, to make sure that all of the I's were dotted, all of the T's were crossed. They sacrificed. They were frustrated. They were angry. They were bummed that their businesses were shut down. But they stuck to it and unified for an amount of time that allowed for the virus to be squashed domestically. And then all they had to do was have a robust contact tracing system that would make sure that if anything did come in, that they would be able to squash it. So do I think that doctors are intentionally hiding COVID cases? It's impossible to hide COVID cases if your objective is to put a handle on your pandemic response. There's absolutely no way to do it. If your country didn't care about containing the virus, then maybe. You know, like Brazil or some other countries, even America, I think there's situations where people are worried about healthcare costs, so they're not even going in if they have some sort of a COVID problem. You have Mike Lee, I think, is a senator who was COVID positive, and he's going to the Senate and doing interviews with reporters. You're never going to contain the virus, and you're never going to be able to live this sort of normal life if you're constantly up against a situation where the virus is propagating sort of out of control. It's a really frustrating situation. Again, I'm just going to finish it off with this message. I'm walking around without my mask. I'm looking around. I see one guy with a mask. One guy with a mask. Is it irresponsible? No. Nope. That I'm not wearing a mask? Nope. Because the system's in place and I have a mask in my pocket. If I get a message, mask goes on. What did we earn from this? We earned the ability. Oh, what is this? What is that? Oranges? Looks like an orange. We earned the ability to go back to normal. If I worked an office job, I could go to my office, no problem. I don't have to scan a code to go into Starbucks and get a coffee. I can take my daughter to school. She's in school right now, face to face with her teacher. No online learning, no need. She can go and play with her buddies at kid play centers. Doesn't need to worry about masks. People can do their ordinary job. People can buy cars and go shopping. People can go on vacation, go to places without worry of, you know, the virus. So these are situations you would not be able to do in China even if the virus was raging. So again, to answer the question, is the virus, what is the virus situation in China? Very under control. We are informed if a dozen cases happen anywhere in the country, and they are taking incredible steps to contain it. And another thing is, if you think like the cost of 9 million tests is a lot, think about that deferred against an economy that's in flux and a populace that cannot stabilize. I think that whatever cost it would be to test 9 million people pales in comparison to the amount of cost it takes to dilly-dally through a pandemic in infinitum or until the vaccine is discovered. And this is another note that I'm really worried about. Viruses can mutate, and oftentimes viruses mutate harmlessly, right? So you'll have a virus, it'll mutate, and some code will shift slightly, and it'll be nothing. But there are certain parts of that virus that if they mutate, the virus can become stronger, the virus can become more symptomatic, the virus can become easier to transfer, and a vaccine designed for COVID 1.0 might not work for COVID 2.0. The only way that you can prevent a virus from mutating is trying to keep down the amount of virus replication and virus spread. So, you know, China has it under control, and that means that the virus is spreading at a very, very slow rate. We have 12 cases and things like this. But in America, you've got like tens of thousands of cases. And what does that mean? You've got way too much virus spreading, and way too much opportunity for a virus to replicate and mutate. So this herd immunity concept, this idea, I think it's really dangerous, and it makes things unstable for a longer period of time, and it opens up the opportunity for the virus to mutate, which could put us into a much worse situation than we're in right now. So anyways, be safe, take it easy, listen to the scientists all the time, because science is an evolving practice. Just because a scientist says something you like today doesn't mean that you can not believe him when he says something you don't like tomorrow. Science evolves. As they learn more about the virus, science evolves. So if he says you don't need masks today, and you're like, I like that, tomorrow he says, you know what, we need to put masks on. You say, well, yesterday you said something I liked. Today you're saying something I don't like, so I won't believe what you say today. I'll stick with believing what you said yesterday. It's a sad state of humanity that we can't trust the people who are professionals, and instead we trust the people who are professional reality show hosts. Anyways, take it easy, guys. JaYoe. Like, subscribe, share, comment. If you follow me on my Patreon, I have an audio podcast I put out there on a regular basis. I love that building. I really do like that building. Super cool. So talk to me on that. Hello. And comment below. I'm sure that you will. I attract a lot of angry people, but I'll tell you what, in the comment section, I don't mind if you disagree with me, but if you want me to engage with you, if you want to tell me something that might sink into my thick skull, referring to anybody with stupid names like libtard or republican or demo rat or any sort of thing like this, it's an instant DQ, guys. It lowers your IQ perception to me, and a discourse with somebody who's a moron, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for that. But if you use these words in a comment section on a video that you actually want to make a point on, it just lowers your level so much. I mean, YouTube is a great place to exchange ideas, but it's also a place where people can act the way that they feel. And sometimes I think people feel like they're in grade school instead of an adult. So yeah, why don't you grow up, you know? I think the world needs to grow up a little, to be honest. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we all should stay children. But JaYoe, take it easy, have a good one. A beautiful day in Ningbo, holy moly.